welcome everyone. It is Cannabis News. I'm your host, Joe Klare. It's November 11th, 2019, Veterans Day here in the United States. Happy Veterans Day to all of you veterans out there, family members of veterans, the whole orbit around veterans, of veterans. Just happy Veterans Day. You know the drill. At least for the United States. I don't know what day it is. I know it's Armistice Day, I guess, for World War I and other places. I'm not up to date. I just know it's Veterans Day here, and then I'm talking excessively about it, so I will move on. We're presented, of course, as always, by the Marijuana Times. Find us at marijuanatimes.org today. Talking about the Chicago Housing Authority reminding tenants about the problems that could arise from their marijuana use. Also an update on the vaping illnesses, and talk a little bit about marijuana and pain relief. All of that coming up. But first, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides grow safe and poison-free with Natureside. Don't use banned pesticides or harmful chemicals on what you're growing. Use, you guessed it, Natureside, nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Thank you, Natureside, for now over 2 years in excess of 500 episodes of sponsorship. They are awesome. This first story by Julia Granowitz of marijuanatimes.org. The Chicago Housing Authority reminds tenants that marijuana is still illegal in their homes. Of course, legalization becomes law in Illinois, and legal sales will become legal. Sales will become legal on January 1st, 2020. The Chicago Housing Authority has reminded 63,000 households in its purview that marijuana is still illegal under federal law, therefore it remains illegal in their homes as well. The notice sent to voucher recipients was specific. It is still grounds for termination if any tenant, household member, or guest is found using or possessing marijuana. Doesn't matter if it's for medicinal or recreational purposes, even though both are illegal now in Illinois. Of course, the conflict, as you can guess, is federal law. This is an entity that gets federal money, and if they're allowing something that's illegal under federal law, then their federal money is in jeopardy. So once again, as happens so many times, federal law is an impediment to all sorts of things when it comes to legalization. And it's a reminder that no matter what a state does or a local jurisdiction does, it still has federal law looming over it. So, that's going to be a problem for a lot of people, especially medical marijuana users who have a lot of subsidized housing. They have various ailments. They have to use medical marijuana instead of being forced to use opioids or other prescriptions. And that's what they're going to be forced to do. Either that or they're going to be forced to break the law or break their tenant agreement with their housing. And that's not a choice that anyone should have to make. The whole point of marijuana legalization is if someone's using marijuana in their home, it is none of your business. They're not infringing on your rights. It's not a criminal in any way. They're not affecting you at all. They go to the store and they buy some marijuana. They go home and they use marijuana. It doesn't affect you at all. It's none of your business. But if your housing is tied to federal law in any way, then it becomes federal business. They make anything that they fund or they have anything to do with, they're going to make their business, and they're going to make the decisions about those things when it comes right down to it. This next story from thehill.com. Vaping illness spurs calls for federal marijuana changes. There's been calls for this ever since the vaping story really hit big a few months ago. And basically, in a nutshell, federal legalization would alleviate a lot of these problems. Most of these vaping illnesses are from illegal THC carts. The black market for vape products and vape pens is still alive and well because the federal government, first of all, prohibits marijuana, and a lot of the states are doing poor jobs of allowing the illegal marijuana industry to flourish in any way, shape, or form. Federal health officials have pointed to black market THC products as a likely culprit of mysterious vaping illnesses that has sickened more than 2,000 people across the country and has caused at least 39 deaths. Advocates argue federal marijuana regulation, including changing rules to allow more and better research, will make people safer. Terry Holt, spokesman for the National Cannabis Roundtable, said, quote, "The black market can only be addressed by a viable legal market that's regulated and can promise safety and security for consumers." On Friday, CDC officials homed in on an e-cigarette cutting agent called vitamin E acetate. According to experts, vitamin E has been used in unregulated illegal vaping products to dilute THC oil in order to maximize profits, being cut and diluted with a lot of different things. This vitamin C acetate, if that sounds familiar to listeners of this show, we've been talking about it for several weeks now, and we were by no means the first people to talk about it. But even it's not like we broke the news, but we've been talking about it for 6 or 7 weeks at this point. And now the CDC finally comes out and says, well, maybe it's this vitamin C acetate. That's been in the news for quite some time. Obviously, no one at the CDC watches this show, which is disappointing, to say the least. I would not have guessed that. I would have thought that they at least a couple people dedicated to monitoring what's going on with this show, but I guess not. So fine, CDC, just be late. Just be late on things, as you were on this. Another culprit we've mentioned a few times is the pesticide that when heated it becomes hydrogen cyanide, and a lot of that is they've found that in a lot of samples as well. And again, I can't reiterate enough, the bootleg THC carts, you know what they look like. Most of you do. They have the packaging. There's been YouTube videos. It's all over the place now, but we've been saying it for a long time here. Stay away from the bootleg THC cartridges. They are bad. Bad. I can't be any clearer than that. Someone offers you a cart, it's, some dude selling it, it's 30 or 40 bucks or whatever, even 50 bucks. It's too good to be true. It's not what you're looking for. You even run a risk if you get something in a legal dispensary that it could have been cut with something or something could have been screwed up. But these people making this crap in their house, well, you can almost guarantee that there's other stuff in there that you don't want in your body. This last story from Helio.com. Nearly 40% of patients with rheumatic diseases use marijuana for pain relief. More than 1/3 of patients with rheumatic diseases reported using marijuana to relieve pain with minimal guidance from their physicians, according to findings presented at ARP 2019. Research about the safety and efficacy of marijuana for medical use and CBD is seriously lacking, said W. Benjamin Noel, PhD. He's director of the Patient-Centered Research at Creaky Joints, told Helio Rheumatology. Physicians simply are not armed with any data they can share with patients to counsel them about medical marijuana, including whether it can be safely used in combination with prescription medications. In the absence of high-quality data, many patients end up making their own decisions about medical marijuana without guidance from their doctors. In other words, a lot of this is a call for more research. More research, and doctors need more data. Doctors need more information to share with their patients. People like myself, we know a lot about marijuana because we're in it every day. We're immersed in it. We're absorbed by it. But doctors who probably didn't see anything about cannabis at all in medical school now are faced with this thing they know nothing about, and they have questions, and patients are coming to them and saying, what about this, and what about this? And they have no idea because they haven't looked into the issue, which they should probably get around to doing. It's here. Medical marijuana is here. In an attempt to rectify the situation, Noel and colleagues analyzed findings from a 77-item cross-sectional survey about marijuana use that was completed by 1,059 respondents with physician-diagnosed musculoskeletal or rheumatic diseases. The study population was called from the Arthritis Power Research Registry. Results showed that 37% of the cohort reported medical marijuana use, with most patients, 93%, using it for a specific condition. According to the survey, 51% of patients use marijuana for rheumatoid arthritis, 46% for osteoarthritis, and 35% used it for fibromyalgia. Among the 63% who had never used medical marijuana, illegality was the most commonly reported reason at 40%, followed by 24% who cited potential impairment, and around 20% each for patients who did not know where or how to obtain the drug. So it's easy for us who are in the industry to forget that a lot of people out there don't know anything about medical marijuana, and even worse, there's many doctors, most doctors, don't know even an adequate amount about medical marijuana, what it can be used for, what it can do, what we know about it, how it affects the body. There's a lot of that information out there. There's thousands of studies on these things, but most doctors have not been exposed to these things. Certainly not medical school. Even to this day, most medical schools don't seem to be broaching this subject. There's a lot more, obviously, and there will be more in the future because, again, this is here. I mean, this is it. Medical marijuana is a thing. It's not going anywhere. It's only going to get more popular because it's effective. It's effective for millions of people, and as more people find it more effective, then they're going to want to use it. And naturally, they're going to have questions for their doctors, questions that a lot of doctors right now can't answer. At least not as well as like somebody like me. I can answer your questions, but I'm not a doctor. So there's the catch-22. Thanks, everybody, for watching the show. A new week, of course, here at the Marijuana Times. Find us at marijuanatimes.org. Search us out on YouTube. Over 2,600 subscribers there now. Click the notification bell so you know when a new episode has dropped. We're also on Apple Podcasts for the audio version. Thank you to Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Thanks to all of you for watching and listening today. We'll see you next time right here on Cannabis News.